Hello, I'm Llewellyn King, the host of MECFS Alert, which I produce in conjunction with my colleague Deborah Woroff of New York City. I'm joined by Ryan Pryor, a very gifted, quite extraordinarily courageous young man who has a scheme to increase the understanding of the medical community in years to come of this terrible, debilitating, awful disease. I'm joined by him now. Welcome to the broadcast.
Thank you so much.
You call your organization the Blue Ribbon?
Blue Ribbon Foundation, correct.
Blue Ribbon Foundation. What does that mean?
Blue Ribbon refers to the symbol for the awareness of MECFS. So it's partly based on the name of our film, but it's a...
Well, let's get to your film in a moment. The foundation is called Blue Ribbon?
Blue Ribbon Foundation, correct.
Right, and the plan is to embed for 10-week periods medical students with expert doctors like Andreas Kogelneck of the Open Medicine Foundation and others.
That's correct.
You mentioned a film. Where does the film play in to the Blue Ribbon Foundation and the embedding of medical students so that greater understanding of this disease permeates the medical profession?
Yeah, I think that, so we started out to make a film in the first place, but a lot of people will say, well, what will it matter if you make a film? Like, who will watch it, or what impact will it make? And so it's more that you can't do just a film, but to do a film, but also do something in the real world that is actually changing something. And that was, and I'm in the stage of my life where if I had gone to medical school, I'd be in my second year of medical school myself.
How old are you?
I'm 24. So this is something that's meant to appeal to people just like me, and I think it. So I'm trying to design it.
But people who are not victims of
people
disease.
who are my age, but who are in medical school.
And how is it going? Is there much enthusiasm for this?
There's quite a bit of enthusiasm among the institutes who will be hosting the fellows. And then I got a call recently from one of the advocates in the U.S. who was asking me all these questions. I couldn't figure out why she was asking them. And it turned out that the reason she was asking was she's trying to figure out when can she hire one of these doctors. So we have interest in the students on the early end. You have interest from the research institutes who are hosting the fellows. And you have interest later on from people who want to figure out how to hire one of these people later, because it takes 2 or 3 years oftentimes to get access to one of the top experts. And then from there we've got people chiming in from Canada or the UK or Australia figuring out how can we do this in our country. And so we're trying to give some tips to people in other places to this up there too.
The film, the documentary, is called The Blue Ribbon.
Correct.
And how long will it be? What will it have in it?
It'll be 80 to 100 minutes, which is about normal for a feature-length documentary. It's very research-driven, so it'll be a lot of the top researchers. We've been to the Institute for Neuroimmune Medicine in Florida, been to the Open Medicine Institute in Silicon Valley, the Workwell Foundation in Northern California, Hunter Hopkins Center in North Carolina. We've seen some groundbreaking research in Alabama, the University of Alabama, that a very promising trial going on there, and we'll do a lot of work with the patients. Tell my story within the context of the overall documentary. Probably start off with the story that I wrote for USA Today in 2012 that really made me realize just how untapped this story was in the national media, and then we'll go and tell the story as well as we can nationwide.
Do you feel the national media has ignored the story?
I think not just the national media, the national medical establishment, the national government. It's been ignored in many facets.
It is the suffering that's not known, the suffering that goes on day in and day out without people understanding. And families, of course, bear a terrible burden with this. The film, the documentary, who will it be aimed at? At patients, at doctors, or at the general public?
It's aimed at the general public, and I think that a lot of people who will be most interested at the beginning will be the patient community. And what it will do for the patient community is it'll give them something that they can show to their friends, relatives, that this is a nationwide epidemic, that it's being looked at by some of the most brilliant scientists in the country, and it shows that it's a legitimate disease. That's being important from the patient perspective. And we really want to market it through general audiences, through film festivals, the way you would normally market a general release documentary. And we have a precise interest in showing this at medical schools, because it's about 94% of medical schools are not teaching the full clinical, curricular, and research standards for diagnosing and treating MECFS. And so the film could serve as a supplement to the medical curriculum in those cases.
Any school said they'll take it, or help to produce it, or volunteered any resources to make it?
We've had about 48 or so different groups, nonprofits, individuals, or schools interested in doing screenings of it so far. One of those, I believe, was the University of Utah, so that'll get the ball rolling. I think we'll focus on the universities that have ongoing research first. That'll be Stanford, Nova Southeastern, DePaul University. Those places will be the first places we'll screen it, and they'll have oftentimes researchers at those schools will probably be featured in the movie themselves.
But this is all towards creating an institution, your foundation, that can fund medical students to embed. I use embed because intern means something else in medical education. To embed with specialists. Can you get that going immediately? What is delaying it? What is it waiting on?
As soon as we get the funding for it, I think it'll start pretty quick. And I think to pay for the stipends, I think is the only bottleneck right now. And it'll be about $3,800 per student. So if you think about it, we could probably do 5 students this summer if we were able to come up with $20,000.
So one Silicon Valley billionaire could do it without noticing.
Without noticing. And then we've had a lot of interest in the patient community and figuring out how to do fundraising projects to support it. We just had a person email us within the last few days who was she sent an email to some people, or a message to her friends. Should I dye my hair red? And they said sure. And then she said, wait a second, why don't I dye my hair blue for the blue ribbon? And then she would start a fundraising campaign and keep her hair blue as long as she could raise money to help it.
Well, I imagine the Today Show might want to have her on.
Absolutely.
If I had any hair, I would consider it, but it's not an
I think you
option.
should dye your hair blue.
You can dye your hair blue.
Blue Ellen King.
Ryan Pryor, you're a gifted young man with a great and noble cause, and I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you so much.
Cheers.